Yeah, we don't have to be concerned with the monthly search volume. Like, we'll still pull it to give that insight, but we tell a lot of our junior people, like, that's the last thing you pull. We do intent research first. We do like our social insights, our buzz about feeds that I talked about earlier. And then we'll pull monthly search volume once we already know what pages we're going to create, just to make sure that there is actually some searches there or some intent there. But yeah, I wouldn't get lost behind monthly search volumes anymore. I'd be focusing on your actual solutions.
Welcome to the Simple and Smart SEO Show podcast. I'm your host, Krista Waddell, here to bridge the gap between SEO strategy and real-world business success. So grab a coffee or your favorite tea, and let's dive into smarter SEO for your business.
Yeah, so like, it definitely shouldn't have ever been the case that these silos were in place. I think the main issue or one of the biggest issues, we all had separate meetings, and those separate meetings were taking place with the CMO, the marketing director, whatever the senior role is, where he would have a meeting with the search team, and the search team would focus on a specific set of KPIs or metrics or goals and objectives. Then he'd have the same chat with the social team, who would talk about completely different KPIs and metrics. And then the same chat with a brand team, who was again talking about completely different metrics. So the first thing in breaking down those silos is that instead of your digital team having 3 sets of different metrics, tie their metrics together where they can all sort of like interlude and support each other. If it's the search team and the brand team working together, ensure that the search team has a goal or a KPI of growing brand search. The same can apply to social search discovery and content discovery on social media. That's the starting point for all brands, I think.
So let's talk about some of those KPIs and metrics. Where is the most common place that they overlap that would be a good place to start?
Yeah, so it's definitely, especially going into 2026 and beyond, it's definitely the brand search conversation. I think that as people chat with a Chat GPT, a Perplexity, insert name of competitor AI platform here, they are then going to come back to a Google, at least for the foreseeable future, to take a brand search. So if the brand team and the PR team and the traditional SEO team can rally behind this idea of, okay, we need to grow the amount of people searching for our brand, that's a really strong narrative that can connect a digital team. So that's the first. The second is then, I can't remember the exact phrase, but somebody came up with it right in SEO and I really liked it. But it's like brand plus awareness terms, I think is how they worded it. And it's your brand plus the conversation you want to own or the topic that's important to you. So for example, Sephora plus, like, I don't know, mascara, Sephora plus mascara. If we've created a load of social media content around the conversation of mascara, for example, we would then expect to see more people searching for brand plus keyword, brand plus key pillar. So that allows the social team to become involved as well, where they're creating the demand and driving demand for these specific products through their social content. We then support that with search content in terms of PLPs, PDPs, and all that good stuff. And brand are making sure that when it was relevant and there is a Black Beauty is Beauty type campaign, that is the halo, if you like, that combines everything together. So yeah, for me, brand search is probably the biggest and easiest win because I can see how there's all that cross synergy there. Yeah, that's how I would look at it to start off with. I think that's the easiest win.
I'm smiling because what I teach my small group, and I'm creating a course about this as well, what do you want to be synonymous with? And so that brand plus awareness to me is better verbiage for myself. I wanted to be synonymous with senior night because in the States, every sports season, people will have a senior night for their graduating athletes. So it happens in high school, it happens in college. And for me, it happens 3 times a year. So whereas most people make a lot of money Black Friday, Cyber Monday, my Christmas season is every end of the fall season, winter season, and graduation season. So it's a nice business to be in because I've got some great buying cycles. But I wanted to be synonymous with senior night gifts. And so I said, hey, when somebody searches for senior night gifts, I want them to think collage and wood, or at least recognize our products.
Yes.
I really feel like I created that category. Like I started this about 4 years ago. And now I even have 3 impersonating companies, Chinese-owned impersonating companies that are running ads against my name and senior night gifts. And they actually use my husband holding the products as their advertising creative. And I'm just like, what? And I called a lawyer. I can't do anything about it because they're in a different country. But it's interesting and it's actually flattering. Hey, I was onto something. I created something here. Your company name plus brand awareness of what you want to be known for is so powerful. And then
Literally.
it's almost like in the best of situations, you can create your own category to where people are searching that category, but only looking for you because you're like a category of one until other people figure it out.
So yeah, exactly that. It's that idea of every brand would love to be able to create their own category that they own and are basically synonymous with, and there is no competition. The example that I used at Brighton SEO, both UK and US, was Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola are the go-to, they're the goats when it comes to soft drinks. And I used an analogy in my deck where half the people, as soon as you say that, will be thinking, oh, I could quite like a Coke. And then the other half will be thinking of the challenger brand that has since emerged, which is Pepsi. And they'll be thinking, no, actually, I want my Pepsi. I want to go and get a Pepsi. We basically summarize that as developing preference. The goal now for brands needs to become the preferred option within the conversation. So if that's creating a conversation of one, then obviously you're going to be the preference in that conversation. But when it is a little bit more competitive and there are competitors there, you need to be basically thinking how you can connect search, brand, and social so that you can facilitate that becoming the preference, becoming the preferred option, where people will literally search you out over the competitors. And if you can facilitate that, that's going to lead to success in this search everywhere future.
I would say the place that I've been most efficient in my learning and my teaching is paid media and advertisements. And one way I'm thinking about solving this particular problem that I have is running ads against my name that say official site or something that really inspires people to look again. Wait a second, who am I actually buying from here? But where does paid media fit into this mix of search everywhere?
So for us, specifically with Deviation, we are all about organic discovery. But with the paid elements, what we have been able to do is we've been able to provide some really strong insights of the conversations where the brand are really popular organically. And if that means that they're really popular organically, we can either decide to double down on paid because it means that it's another opportunity to own the conversation and have presence and develop that preference in the space. Or we can say, well, actually, we own this conversation because of the efforts we're doing from brand and from social search and from traditional SEO. Take that budget and reinvest it elsewhere, move it to somewhere where we're not as preferred over a competitor so that we can facilitate that and grow that there. Another way that we're sort of leveraging paid is when we work with content creators organically, we're essentially testing content assets that could become paid assets, and we're doing it for free. So while we're basically working with a content creator on TikTok, for example, we will always ask them to approve Spark Ads authorization to the content that we create and make that part of the initial contract when we agree deals with content creators. If a piece of content by them bangs or does really well, we can then say to the brand, this is doing really well organically. You should put some paid behind this and you should amplify it even further with paid. So while we're not directly thinking about the role of PPC or paid social at the strategy level, mainly because there's people that are way smarter than me that can think about that because I'm only a little SEO, bless me. But we will contribute to their strategies and say, look, we're noticing this. We think it will help you. Lean on this. And again, for Deviation side, I'm sure that might mature and change over the years and we may decide to actually invest in a paid team. But for the top level now, I would say the way that paid plays a role within search everywhere is to be that amplification as needed and to get you over the line when your organic isn't. But you don't want ever to make paid the be all and end all. So that's where your organic can contribute to the search everywhere strategy as well.
I've got another fun little anecdote for you, like with something like that. I also make birthday collage gifts. So saying a person has an 80th birthday, they'll send me pictures from 80 years of memories, right? And I'll make that. And on TikTok, that is my most viral performing content. And it took me probably over a year to realize wait a second, is that even on my homepage? Was that even findable on my website? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I still have to build out PDPs. And I think those are product description pages. Is that what that stands for?
Yeah. Product description pages for the specific products. And then top tip, flesh out your PLPs as well, which are your product listing pages, your collection pages on Shopify. Again, around that intent that you want to earn. So we work with a supplements brand. They want to help lads get stronger, lads get bigger. So they'll create an intent-rich PLP on muscle growth, for example. They then may create a further nuanced intent-rich PLP on muscle growth for older men who have naturally less testosterone. So then we're really starting to address the intent issues rather than just having an optimized PDP. Because as people start to search through ChatGPT and AI LLM, they're going to be asking and prompting in that way. They're going to be saying, I'm not, but I'm just going to use this as an example. I am a 40-plus-year-old male, starting to experience deteriorating testosterone levels, still want to go to the gym, still have ambitions to have muscle growth. What supplementation should I basically be taking? And if we've optimized an intent-rich PLP for that, it's our results that are going to be likely if we achieve the brand mentions, if we achieve the preference and do all the stuff away from site, off-site signals, then that are going to be cited and then used as part of the answers for ChatGPT and other AIs. So yeah, top tip, make sure you've got intent-rich PLPs around birthday celebrations or celebrations for older birthdays.
Yeah, that's where SEOs are so rich in value for their teams and their companies, because you start to realize that people don't search in generalities. Like we think in generalities, like I might think milestone birthdays, like somebody might be searching for a milestone birthday, but it's a lot different for somebody to be searching for this keepsake for their 1-year-old than this celebration of life for this 80-year-old. And they're using different long tail, and now even like you said, these deep conversational search queries. It's so different, but it's also so much easier to capture that perfect client, because if you know what you provide to them, you can make it very easy for them to find you. And so I feel like that's super exciting right now in search.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not always been the case. I think for a long time, especially in, say, my early years, like I've been in SEO for decades, but even when I got into SEO in 2018 up till probably 2020, there was a focus there on short tail keywords, make sure you go after the terms that have the most search volume. And it was very, I don't want to say naive, but like narrow-minded is definitely the phrase, when actually it's okay reaching 1,000 people a month, but if only 2 of them are going to ever move through and convert, is it actually worth the time of going after that really competitive short tail query? Instead, you might actually be better to create these long tail, intent-rich, intent-focused PLPs that only have 30 searches a month, for example. But out of that 30, they might have 15 people convert because it's exactly what they're looking for. And that's been a massive shift for me over these last couple of years is, yeah, we don't have to be concerned with the monthly search volume. Like we'll still pull it to give that insight, but we tell a lot of our junior people, like that's the last thing you pull. We do intent research first. We do like our social insights, our buzz about feeds that I talked about earlier. And then we'll pull monthly search volume once we already know what pages we're going to create, just to make sure that there is actually some searches there or some intent there. But yeah, I wouldn't get lost behind monthly search volumes anymore. I'd be focusing on your actual solutions.
Oh, that is so great. I love that. Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left. So I have 2 last things that I wanted to get your thoughts on. The first was that spider graph visualization that you created. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I was like, oh, this is a helpful insight into how you're performing and where the gaps are. Did I read into that right? Or can you just explain a little bit more?
Yeah, so the spider graph visual is basically, I wanted to visualize other tools more effectively or more easily. So exploding topics, Google Trends, Glimpse, which exists on top of Google Trends. They will give you a breakdown called the channel breakdown. Now, the channel breakdown exists as there's an icon of the platform here, and then there is a line here. And depending on how full that line is, depends on how over-indexed you are on that platform for whatever you have searched. So whether that's your brand term or a pillar topic that you want to own. So it was a cool visual, really cool data. It didn't allow you to effectively compare the landscape in a one look. You was essentially looking down these weird lines that I didn't like. So the spider graph actually gives you a view of the full conversation in a much more easier to digest format, where we will do the same channel breakdown, but we will plan that on a spider graph where it will plot an area. And the idea behind it is you will get to see how your brand, your competitors, or your conversation looks across the search universe. So if something is indexing on TikTok, for example, the line will obviously naturally gravitate massively towards TikTok. And then if there's hardly any mentions or hardly any conversation taking place on X, for example, the line will then come back in and create this nice area graph that I'm sure you can, through the world of editing, put on top of this screen to show people. But that's essentially the goal there. It's to take the channel breakdown which exists on these platforms already and make it a more effective, more digestible experience for strategists. And what we can also do is we can overlay topics on top of each other and brands and therefore competitors. So if we have somebody like Adidas, for example, we can say to Adidas, this is your share of the conversation taking place on social search or the search universe. And here is Nike, here is Puma, here is Reebok. And that then opens the eyes of brands where they can see their tiny island or their massive island in comparison to their competitors. That's been a massive eye-opener for brands where they thought they were doing really well, but then they see their competitors and go, well, actually, we need to be doing a lot more. Or you can do it at a conversational level with other conversations to start to understand where the opportunity is, where the best opportunity is, so that if you've decided our next play is going to be TikTok, for example, as a channel, then we can show you, well, based on your analysis to go for TikTok, these are the best conversations taking place for you on TikTok right now. Here's where you should go to show up. So yeah, the idea with it is the closer you are to the edge of the circle, the more indexed you are on that conversation, the more that conversation is taking place. The smaller or the closer to the center of the circle, the less present you are, and you need to be doing more to grow that share. So that's a quick breakdown. We use them to decide entire strategies, essentially. We'll create, like, for a brand, we'll create one for the brand. We'll overlay all the competitors to show them the state of their search universe. And then we will also create them for all the relevant conversations so that they can tell us where our strategy focus should be.
Ashley, that is like genius.
It's good. We're not finished with it. We want to do a lot more with it. There's a lot we want to start, and we have started to incorporate platform native data from the likes of TikTok creator search insights, Pinterest. Obviously, Reddit trends have started to develop as well. So we'll add all of those to the analysis, and then the goal will be to create an AI that can essentially take all of the learnings, take all of the insights, and then aggregate that into a new spider graph visual that'll be exclusively ours.
Well, one of the things that excites me so much about this is that I believe that conversational search and LLMs operate in this 3D model. And the 3D model is how I think some creative brains think. So if it's not linear, it's okay because we understand that people can bounce around different places. The other thing it reminds me of is like Photoshop layers or like the old school projectors that have the transparencies. One of the biggest challenges is just understanding how all of this data correlates to one another. And so to be able to put that on top of previous data to see where, like you said, the gaps are, where the coverage is, where the intersections are, to have a holistic picture that is data rich in order to make the best decisions. I'm like, oh my gosh, Ashley's created it. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely been the big goal with the agency. Is it would have been very easy for us to create like a typical social agency where you then rely on having the best strategists who've got the most experience and can just say that this idea will work because it worked for X, Y, and Z, or something similar worked for this brand, and this brand. Instead, what we're trying to do is flip that on its head and say, well, what does the data actually tell us? Where does the data tell us to go? Rather than just picking ideas out the sky and hoping one of them gets over. So yeah, that's definitely been at the core of what we're trying to build.
Okay, that's awesome. The very last thing I have is just like a few rapid fire questions. I'll shoot them off and then you let me know what you think.
Yeah, no worries, that's fine.
Number one, SEO, GEO, IDC, or IDK?
Search everywhere.
Okay,
No,
got it.
search everywhere. No one else is allowed to use it, though,
I
'cause I've
saw
got the
that.
trademark.
I
But
saw
yeah,
that.
search everywhere.
I used to call it search everywhere optimization, which is so funny, but I won't anymore because I won't violate that copyright. Okay, so second question. SEO is dying, yes or no?
SEO is
Okay.
evolving.
Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, or something else?
Maybe not Gemini, but Google.
Best use case for AI in SEO?
Ooh. Streamlining processes.
AI agents, hype, or breakthrough?
Breakthrough. Caveat that. We'll talk about that at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Breakthrough. Yeah.
Google AI overviews, good, bad, or ugly?
I'm starting to go towards good.
Jobs in SEO AI is most likely to take in 2026.
Pains me to say, but the most junior roles in agency and brands, I think I would be very scared if I was junior.
Jobs least likely to be taken.
Strategists, anybody involved in strategy.
And then best AI powered app for SEO that no one knows about.
Buzz About AI.
What was that?
Buzz About, so BUZZ about.ai. That's the whole accent killing me. But yeah, Buzz About AI is essentially, it allows you to go and analyze and investigate conversations that are taking place on Reddit, YouTube, Instagram. I'm pretty sure that X is on there and LinkedIn as well for the B2B folks. And then you can use that as a massive like audience insight tool to decide where your strategy is going to go. It is our secret weapon. But I don't gatekeep stuff. So yeah, I don't gatekeep
awesome.
things, so
Okay, so real quickly, what was your comment about AI agents, the breakthrough or hype?
At the moment, they are hype because I don't actually think that we have all of the tech needed to make sure that those tools are efficient or as effective as they need to be. And I think that we have to be really careful. If you are the person that decides which tools to buy at brand or agency, there is going to be a load of like ChatGPT based or N8N based wrapper businesses, wrapper tools that set up that promise to be this AI agent for SEO agencies that probably aren't going to last that long and are probably hype. However, the likes of SEMrush developing an MCP, Ahrefs doing the same, and all of these established tools that have been around for a long time, then going and generating an AI agent, that's where it's breakthrough, I think. The ability to brief a SEMrush agent in a Slack channel to go and do keyword research for me on a brand or keyword research for a query is very, very attractive to me. So that's where I think it'll be a breakthrough. Just be aware of the hype side of the conversation as well, because there's definitely elements of it that are hype.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much for being here today. If there's somebody's listening and you can help them identify themselves as a potential partner to work with you, who is that business owner and how can they reach you?
So the reaching us is really easy. Just head to wearedeviation.co.uk. In terms of the brands that we're looking to work with, it's definitely at the moment more B2C than B2B. It would have to be the right B2B business. SaaS tools would probably fit within that. And then the industries are fashion, fitness, finance, FMCG. And because it had to start with an F, travel. So sorry for swearing, but it had to start with an F so that I can remember it.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was so fun. I knew it was going to be fun. I wish we had 3 more hours because I know that I could learn so much from you, but I'll definitely drop all those links in the show notes. And thank you so much for joining me today on the Simple and Smart SEO Show podcast.
No worries at all. I really appreciate the time and it was awesome to meet you in person.
Yes, for sure. Maybe I'll see you again next year.
Absolutely.